Okay, so you have a location, you have a model, where do you begin? But you do have a 5-in-1 reflector in the trunk of your car. How do you use it? When do you use it? What side do you use it on? We're going to show you right now how to get really, really cool shots in a very simple way. This is open shade, no problem. It's decent light, but if you look at my hand and the iridescence in my hand, why do we get a glow when we come here? Well, why? Because the sun, which is now hitting my face, is hitting this particular little piece of wall, and this is giving me a sliver of light and reflecting that light back in. You can clearly see a difference here between that quality of light, because when I put my hand here, you can see there's a shadow. There's a direction of light and there's a strong shadow behind my hand. The lower that I go, because that's where the light's reflecting, the stronger the shadow. If we come over here now, you'll see that the shadow is not so great. It's not so sharp, not so contrasty. So I know that most of us would have just seen this barn door and just photographed it, fantastic, but I'm always looking for a direction of light. And as soon as I saw this bit of a glow, I thought, perfect, that's giving me the idea to photograph. What I'm actually thinking right now is actually photographing with a 50mm f1.2 lens, which is beautiful. And of course, if you can't afford that, it's not in your budget, 50mm 1.8 is totally fine. In this case, we're going to photograph with a 1.2 lens. I like the way that his feet are out of focus, that sort of drifts away. Your eye totally gets locked on him because you're at f1.2, which works really, really well. What I'm actually thinking right now, again, if I'm actually photographing a couple, rather than actually waste his particular shot or this particular pose, leave him there, let's get Amberly involved and take a shot of both of them. Let's do that. Love that. Perfect. Hold it there again. Hold it there. Now, because they're pretty much on the same plane, I don't want to sort of tempt fate here with my focus. So I might go to about 2.8 to make sure that they're both on the same plane. Love that. Perfect. Hold it. Nice. Hold it. Now, really important, whenever you've got a couple and you're in a situation like this, don't waste it. You can do some foreground background shots really, really easily. So now I'm going to shoot with the 85 1.8 lens and then shoot over this shoulder and bias to the other. So let's have a look. Most of the time I'm photographing in manual mode, and then I put on my safe handheld shutter speed. In this case, I'm going to shoot at 250. I want to shoot at around about f2.2. And then all I've got to do is move my ISO, because I'm shooting mirrorless, until it looks good. I have programmed this particular lens to be my ISO, so I can just adjust it accordingly, as you can see, really, really easily. And I am photographing at 2.2, but you can see how I adjust the exposure. I make sure I turn it until it looks good, and we've got a great shot here. So it's fun, right? We recognize that whole time that was the sunlight hitting this little piece of wall, giving me a really beautiful glow. So just remember, take your time, observe your location around you, and you might just see what I saw just now. So I'm in another part of this particular ranch, another little barn here, and I love the texture of this wall because look, it's graduated, you've sort of got really beautiful tones. And I think many of us, if we're in this environment, we would normally only photograph someone in complete open shade, as in which I'm in right now. Maybe forget to use the backlight. I think it's either one or the other. Most of us will use the open shade or will come right out into the sun. What I want to do now though is actually get head and shoulders backlit, stop them where the shade sort of cuts in. And you might say, why don't you just backlight them completely? Well, I could, and if I'm doing full length, I might do that. But if I want to bring attention to them, you'll sort of see the differences, the little nuances that will happen very, very shortly. So we're going to bring them into the sun, where the sun sort of stops at around about here. We're going to isolate the background, because when we isolate the background, we're cropping context to improve mystery. What does that mean? Context means you're showing too much. So if I'm just cropping into this and getting that beautiful backlight, we'll first do this with just, you know, open lights. We're backlighting them. There's no light coming from the front. Obviously there's ambient light of the sky and everything like that, but no reflector or flash. Then we'll add it and you'll see the difference. Yeah, love that. Good, hold it there. Good. Many of us would be tempted to bring out a flash right now. Am I saying that's a problem? No. Did we need it? No. Could we do something with the reflector? Yes, let's try that. So the question is, when do you use the white side of a reflector? When do you use the silver side? When do you use the gold side? When do you use the black side? And when do you use a diffuser? Well, depends on what's in front of you. First of all, let's eliminate the low-hanging fruit here. With the gold side, you're sort of trying to emulate sunset or sunrise, that golden hour. I personally find that there's not many Caucasian, paler skinned people that can get away with a gold side of a reflector. I normally reserve that for darker skin. For example, Fernando, on his own, I think it'll be fine. African American skin, fantastic. I just find that a lot of the time that gold side's not going to work with most people. When it's sunny like this, you can use the white side, obviously because we've got unfiltered light. In other words, the sun's not coming through a cloud, it's just completely bare. The white side will give us an obvious direction. If we want it sharper and more contrasty, we would add the silver side. So for example, if the sun was going through clouds and we've got this, what I call filtered light, we want to make it more contrasty, then you use the silver side. Does not mean you can't use it with the sun, it just depends on what look you want. And why would you use the black side? You want to cut away some light. We'll try all of these things and give us an excuse to do it in our environment. Many of us who use reflectors, you'll always see photographers doing this, always down low. Reflectors like this, like you're sort of giving somebody a plate, for example, normally works if you've got a beauty dish, you've got a big light in front of you. You've got to be careful because if this is your main light, and if you have the light down low and it's protruding up like this way, you are going to get unflattering shadows on the upper cheekbone. That's going to be a problem. If you can help it, think of like you're just ricocheting water. If the sun is a hose and it's ricocheting, I want to actually see what that light is doing on him and make sure it's coming on a beautiful direction. Then I'm going to bring that reflector somewhere here and bring it this way. Now, if I want to create a shadow on this side of the face, then I ask my assistant, whether it's on a light stand, whether you have this on a reflector arm, you draw an imaginary line between where the light's coming from and his face. See, right now, from where I am, I can't see this side of his face, which means that if I have the reflector somewhere here, there we go, and when he's blinded, you know you're in the right spot. So close your eyes there, mate. So Sam, I want you just here. Okay, so we're going to create that shadow side. Now, whether we include amberly in that, I don't really know yet. We're going to find out. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to photograph in color so you can see the results of what I'm doing. Okay, hold it there, hold it. Now, let's get no reflector in. You clearly see the difference there. It's actually quite dramatic. Most of us, what we need to do is understand that you probably have the power of a flash in a reflector. Most of us have a 5-in-1, it's in the trunk of our car, we never use it. Now, do I demonize speed lights or flashes? No, but we often don't use that reflector when we could. My golden rule is if I need light outdoors in a situation like this, I'll normally use a reflector. If I need more light, speed light. If I need more light, strobe. Simple. You can see how the silver side will be appropriate sometimes, and then other times, of course, the white side. At the end of the day, there's no real rule per se. The common denominator is that if you want to add more contrast, silver side. If you want less contrast but a direction of light, the white side. If you want to emulate and resemble that golden hour, and in my case, I prefer using that golden side of the reflector on darker skin, then great, that'll be fine. Now, the black side of a reflector, well, what are we doing with that? We're taking away light. So let's see how we do this now. Love that. Hold it there for me. Good, hold it. Love that, Emily, it's gorgeous. Hold it there. Hold it. Perfect. Now, we're going to bring the black side of the reflector up and just add a little bit of shade, but I want to make sure that I can sort of still see her. I'm cutting away a little bit of light on this side of the face. So look at the difference. So you've got that open pocket of light, and then all of a sudden we sort of darken it down, it sort of contains the picture a little bit more. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. In this particular case, it's just a way of cutting away some light, giving us a different perspective, and adds a lot more fun. So we've shown you the white side, we've showed you the gold side, we've showed you the black side. Now it's time to show you the diffuser. So now we're going to use a diffuser, and I've walked here into the shade to have a bit of a break, and I looked at the ground, and I'm seeing this sort of dappled light on the ground, and I'm thinking of getting amberly just right into the sun, then with the diffuser, so we get that dappled light out of focus in the background, but then we'll diffuse her from the sun and create a beautiful direction of light. Oh, I love that dappled light, looks so beautiful. Awesome, chin up a little bit. Hold it there for me, hold it. Stunning, gorgeous, hold it. Perfectly sharp, love that background, looks amazing. Now let's take the diffuser off to show the difference. And now you hate me. Okay, chin up a little bit. Good, eyes at me. Good. Massive difference. I mean, it's massive. I think too many of us, we always tend to want to overpower the sun with flash or anything like that, but when you have the power of a reflector literally with you, why wouldn't you use it? And that's what we've done right now. We recognized that with every single light source, there was a clear difference. One was a beautiful direction of light, the white one, but not as contrasty. We wanted more contrast. Of course, we used the silver side. We want to emulate that sort of that golden hour that perhaps, in my opinion, looks a bit better on darker skin. We got that as well. And then we recognized that the light was beautiful on amberly, but we took the actual shadow, the black side of a reflector, we call it a cutter, we cut away light from her and we added a bit of a different depth and dimension. Now you might say, why would I even do this when I can use a speed light or a flash or do it in post-production? If you can craft the shot in camera straight away, why wouldn't you? At the end of the day, if you use different kinds of lighting situations that you can recognize in your environment, as well as speed light, strobe, reflector, whatever it basically is, then you're combining unique elements in your environment rather than every single shot used with the same light source, and then you become one-dimensional. Now, we've just proven to you that you don't have to be overly over the top or use this crazy gear. You can just use that 5-in-1 reflector that you already own. Now, if you want to level up, so to speak, and you want to use a speed light and you want to use a strobe, you want to use 2 or 3 of them, well, we're going to show you that in that next episode. But just remember, slow down, take your time, follow the 5 steps: light, location, pose, technique, emotion, and now you've got a great shot, and then we can move forward together.